The land, the sea shaped. There is a place in the Caribbean, small enough to overlook on most maps, vast enough to spend a lifetime exploring, where the sea is not a backdrop, it is the story itself. Antigua and Barbuda, two islands, one nation. And between them, an ocean that has carried everything. Trade winds and storm clouds, enslaved people and liberators, sailors chasing fortune, and families searching for home. Antigua measures just 108 square miles. Barbuda, quieter, flatter, wilder, covers 62 more. Together they sit at the northern arc of the Lesser Antilles, a chain of islands that stretches like a necklace between the Atlantic and the Caribbean Sea. And yet within these small coordinates an entire world unfolds. To understand these islands, you have to begin with the water. Antigua alone has 365 beaches. One, as the locals proudly say, for every day of the year. But it is not only the number that astonishes, it is the color. No two beaches here are the same shade of blue. Some glow turquoise in the morning and shift to deep cobalt by afternoon. Others hold their pale jade no matter what the sun does. The sea here is not one thing, it is a living, shifting spectrum. The geology that created these beaches is ancient, older than the islands themselves. Antigua sits on limestone and coral, built up over millions of years from the skeletons of sea creatures. Walk the northeast coast and you will find jagged, dramatic rock formations carved by Atlantic wind and wave. Walk the southwest and the land softens, sheltered by reefs where calm water laps in powder white sand. Two coastlines, two personalities, and that contrast, that duality, runs through everything about this nation. Deep roots. The first peoples. Long before European ships arrived, these islands had already known thousands of years of human life. The earliest confirmed inhabitants were the Siboney, sometimes called the Siboney, a pre-ceramic people who arrived by sea from South America as far back as 5,000 years ago. They fished, they foraged, they left behind shell middens and stone tools as quiet evidence of their presence. After them came the Arawak-speaking Saladoid people, skilled potters and farmers who cultivated cassava and built permanent settlements. And then, around 1,000 years ago, the Kalinago, known historically as the island Caribs, moved through the Lesser Antilles, reshaping the social world of the entire region. Their presence in Antigua and Barbuda was significant, their resistance to outside intrusion fierce. The names these first peoples gave the land have mostly been lost. What remains are petroglyphs, rock carvings found in sites across Antigua, faces and symbols etched into stone that speak without language. They are among the oldest voices in the islands. We do not fully understand what they say, but they are here. They endure. Encounter and transformation. Christopher Columbus sighted Antigua in 1493 during his second voyage to the Americas. He named it after the church of Santa Maria la Antigua in Seville, Spain. He did not stop. He sailed on, but the naming was enough. It planted a flag in the European imagination, and within a century, the scramble for these islands would begin in earnest. English settlers established the first permanent colony in Antigua in 1632, drawn by the island's relatively dry climate and its suitability for growing tobacco and, later, sugar. Within decades, sugar had transformed everything. It was the most profitable crop in the known world, and the plantation system that grew around it was built on the labor of enslaved Africans, kidnapped from their homelands and shipped across the Atlantic in conditions designed to break the body and the spirit. By the mid-1700s, enslaved Africans outnumbered white colonists in Antigua by a ratio of nearly 10 to 1. Barbuda was managed differently, used largely as a provisioning island for the plantation system, its enslaved population forced to farm and hunt to feed the sugar colonies nearby. The suffering was immense, the resistance was constant. Across the island today, the ruins of sugar mills still stand, more than 150 of them. Stone towers partially collapsed, reclaimed by the landscape. They are not monuments, they are wounds in the earth, and understanding Antigua and Barbuda means standing in front of them and not looking away. Slavery was abolished in the British colonies in 1834, but emancipation was not freedom, not immediately. The British government imposed a period of so-called apprenticeship, during which formerly enslaved people were required to continue working for their enslavers without full wages. In Antigua, remarkably, plantation owners chose to opt out of this system. Full emancipation came on the 1st of August 1834. That date, the 1st of August, is still celebrated in Antigua and Barbuda today, not just as Emancipation Day, but as the symbolic beginning of Carnival, the nation's largest and most vibrant cultural event. It is not a coincidence. Carnival is a reclamation, a joyful, explosive, collective declaration that this land, this culture, this people, they belong to themselves. Antigua's Carnival, held in late July and culminating in the first week of August, draws visitors from across the Caribbean diaspora and beyond. It is 10 days of music, pageantry, competition, and community. Steel pan and soca fill every street. Elaborate costume bands parade through the capital, St. John's, under a sky blazing with sun. For those 10 days, the history of the islands, all of it, is held, honored, and transformed into something irresistibly alive. The making of a nation. Antigua and Barbuda gained full independence from Britain on the 1st of November, 1981. It was a long time coming. The islands had moved through decades of increasing self-governance, from colonial rule to associated statehood to full sovereignty. And independence was achieved peacefully through negotiation and political will rather than armed conflict. The flag they raised that November morning is one of the most intentional national symbols in the region. A black band at its center represents the African heritage of the people. Blue for hope, white for the sand and the sea, red for the energy of the people. And at the top, a rising golden sun, a sun with 7 rays representing each of the 6 parishes of Antigua and the island of Barbuda. Today, Antigua and Barbuda is a constitutional monarchy within the Commonwealth, with King Charles III as head of state, represented locally by a Governor-General. A Prime Minister leads the elected government. The nation has a population of roughly 100,000 people, the vast majority living on Antigua, with only a few thousand calling Barbuda home. Small in number, significant in every other way. Barbuda, the sister island. If Antigua is the face the world sees, the resort beaches, the famous harbour, the cricket ground, then Barbuda is the soul that most visitors never find. Quieter, slower, more ancient in its character. Barbuda has no traffic lights, it has no rivers. It sits so low to the sea that from a boat it nearly disappears into the horizon. Barbuda's beaches are extraordinary even by Caribbean standards. The sand here contains crushed pink coral, giving the shoreline a blush hue that shifts with the light. Pale rose at dawn, deeper salmon at midday, almost lavender at dusk. For much of its history, Barbuda was held communally, its land not owned by individuals but by the people collectively, a legacy of the unique system that arose after emancipation. That communal land ownership, embedded in law, became one of Barbuda's defining features and one of its most fiercely protected rights. The island is also home to one of the most spectacular wildlife spectacles in the entire Caribbean. The Codrington Lagoon, a vast brackish lagoon that nearly bisects the island, shelters the largest colony of magnificent frigate birds in the Western Hemisphere. During breeding season, thousands of male frigate birds inflate vivid red throat pouches to attract mates. The sound, a drumming, gurgling chorus, is unlike anything else on Earth. It is one of nature's genuinely extraordinary performances, and Barbuda has preserved it almost entirely undisturbed. Hurricane, recovery, resilience. In September 2017, Hurricane Irma, one of the most powerful Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded, made landfall directly over Barbuda. The storm was catastrophic. Winds exceeded 180 miles per hour. Within hours, 90% of the island's structures were damaged or destroyed. The entire population of roughly 1,600 people was evacuated to Antigua in what became the first complete evacuation of an inhabited island in modern Caribbean history. What followed was a rebuilding effort measured not just in concrete and lumber, but in political will, in community solidarity, and in fierce disagreement over how the island should recover and who should control its future. Land rights that Barbudans had protected for generations became contested in the aftermath. The debate was passionate and deeply felt. The island's recovery, physical, economic, cultural, continues to this day. But Barbuda came back. Houses rose from rubble. The frigate birds returned to the lagoon, nature, like the people, refusing to be permanently displaced. The island's resilience is not a metaphor, it is observable, documented fact. The community that rebuilt Barbuda did so knowing that the next storm is always possible, and they rebuilt anyway. Culture, cricket, and contemporary life. Cricket in Antigua and Barbuda is not a sport, it is identity. The nation has produced some of the greatest players in the history of the game. None more celebrated than Sir Vivian Richards, born in St John's in 1952, widely considered the most dominant batsman who ever played the game. Viv Richards did not just play cricket, he transformed it. Aggressive, fearless, joyful, uncompromising. He was everything the Caribbean had been told it was not allowed to be. And he proved every limit wrong. The Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, built for the 2007 ICC Cricket World Cup, stands as a permanent tribute. But the real tribute is the way cricket lives in the islands, with every cleared field, every pickup game, every child who picks up a bat and imagines what it might mean to represent a nation of 100,000 people against the rest of the world, and to win. The culture of Antigua and Barbuda extends from the cricket ground to the kitchen table. The national dish, fungi and pepper pot, is a dish forged from survival and creativity. Fungi, a cornmeal porridge similar to polenta, paired with a rich, slow-cooked pepper pot stew of leafy vegetables and salted meat. It is humble, sustaining, and deeply beloved. It speaks in the same language as all great food from colonized places. This is what we made from what we had. And it is magnificent. Each April, English Harbour, once the headquarters of Britain's naval command in the Eastern Caribbean, fills with hundreds of sailing vessels from around the world for Antigua Sailing Week. It is one of the premier regattas on the planet, drawing elite competitors and amateur sailors alike. There is something quietly significant about watching the world's sailors choose to come here, to the same harbour where Admiral Horatio Nelson once commanded a fleet, now coming not for empire, but for joy. The nation faces challenges common to many small island developing states: climate vulnerability, economic dependence on tourism, the pressures of a changing global economy. The sea that defines these islands is rising. The storms are intensifying. The conversations about what resilience looks like in the 21st century are urgent and ongoing. And yet, there is something about this place that resists simple narratives of fragility. These islands have survived. Indigenous erasure, slavery, colonialism, the hurricane seasons of the modern era. They have survived and they have built something, a culture, a people, a national identity that is fully, distinctly, proudly their own. Antigua and Barbuda, 170 square miles of land, 300 years of contested history, and 365 beaches, each one catching light differently. The sea here does not forget. It holds everything. The grief, the beauty, the endurance, the joy. And it carries it forward, the way water always does. Not erasing the past, reflecting it, making it visible, making it shine. If you found this documentary valuable, consider subscribing and sharing it with someone who should know Antigua and Barbuda's story. We cover underreported histories and rising nations every week. Leave a comment. What part of Angola's story surprised you most? We'll see you next time.